Hello, hello. I am going live, guys. I wanted to jump on for a few minutes. Let me know if y'all can see and hear me well about the new anthology that I participated in, Shut 'em Down. If you can just let me know you hear me and see me well, that would be greatly appreciated. Sometime the hey sometimes I don't see the comments right away, but if you guys can hear me well, see me well, please let me know. If you can hear me well, see me well, please let me know. I need to know. We can hear you, we cannot hear you. I need to know. You can hear me, Gertrude? Can you hear me well, guys? Just need to confirm that y'all can hear me. Can you guys hear me? I don't know if you can hear me. Just let me know. Okay, cool. All right. On Facebook, I can hear you. On Instagram, can you guys hear me? Can somebody let me know that they hear me? If you're on, just let me know that you can hear me. Let me see. I'm trying to tag someone as well. You are okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know you can hear me. Hey, April, you're on. So I am going to get started, guys. I am on tonight. I will not be keeping you guys long, but I am on tonight to talk about the new anthology that I co-authored in, and it's called Shut 'em Down. And this book is actually an anthology that was the vision of Dr. Carrie Yazid. She put out the opportunity, and so graciously I applied and was accepted to participate in this anthology. This anthology is basically the story and experiences of 20 Black women in corporate America or in our professional industries. And we basically shared our experience with discrimination and or racism in the workplace. And what those stories are telling is some really gut-wrenching stories. It involves some level of trauma for many of us, as well as just having to recover and recuperate and how to function in these environments. So this is an actual great book. I'm actually going to share a little bit of the chapter, and I want to read a little bit just to give y'all a little snippet, and then I'm going to process it a little bit as well. Um, so again, the book is about Shut 'em Down. The book is an anthology of 20 authors, Black women who shared their experiences of racism and or discrimination in the workplace, and more specifically in corporate America. And so my chapter is called From Darkness to Light, because that's really essentially, I guess I'll tell you a little bit about that. That's essentially how I felt. I felt like I was going from darkness to light. Like I went into this job, and I'll probably read the first couple of paragraphs, the intro of the chapter. But basically, I was not in a good space in this year that I went through this experience. And honestly, guys, there were many experiences that I had prior to being a social worker. I was a banker. And in banking, I experienced quite a bit of discrimination, of discriminatory behavior or biases against me because the banking industry and the upper management, more specifically, especially, those people are white people, straight up. And that's who are normally leading these industries. And so I didn't share any of my banking stories, which were kind of gut wrenching too. I went with a social work story. And my co-authors have joined me on, I know specifically on Facebook, both my co-authors, April is on and Gertrude are on, and we're kind of supporting each other with this. We're doing a back-to-back night, guys. And what's going to happen is tonight is my night. I'm going to share a snippet of my chapter and process that a little bit with you guys. If you have questions, anything you want to ask me, feel free to drop them in the comments, as well as if you want to DM me, say you don't want to ask it on here and you want to just kind of, ask me off the record, you're welcome to DM me any questions you have. But again, this is an opportunity for you guys to get a glimpse into the chapter. So my co-authors are on supporting. Tonight is my night. Tomorrow night, I have another co-author. She's going to go live on both Instagram and Facebook, or either or both. And then the next author, the third author, we all are social workers. And so we decided to kind of support each other. Again, it's 20 authors, but the three of us came together to be a support system to each other in marketing and advertising the book, as well as just sharing our stories. We have some similarities in our experiences because we are a social worker, and it's the helping industry. So again, the book is Shut 'Em Down for the people who are just getting on. And the book is about the experiences of 20 Black women who are who have experienced some level of racism or discrimination. So I'm just sharing the chapter again for the people who are jumping on as I am going along. So again, I'm going to share some snippet of the chapter, and I'm going to start from the beginning. So my chapter again is From Darkness to Light, and it's the Shut 'Em Down anthology. And so I start off the chapter by saying, I was not prepared for the racism or discrimination that I would experience while trying to be a change agent in the field of mental health. While Black women are stereotyped as angry, aggressive, and hired to meet diversity expectations, because of social conditioning, racism is continually perpetuated in corporate America and downplayed. As a result, Black women have a harder experience in the workplace than any other population in America. And Black women are held to a stricter standard on the job compared to their white counterparts, even in the field of social work. So that's the intro. Me giving y'all just that part is my opinion that I feel like Black women have a harder time in industries than any other population in America. We're paid less. We have to present ourselves in a certain way to be accepted. And when we are advocating, or in the words of some people, opinionated, that is perceived as angry, that is perceived as aggressive. But the truth of the matter is, we're not responding no differently than a Karen would or a Becky would. And that's just being honest. Second paragraph goes into, in late 2012, I secured a position with an agency and felt so relieved to have a job. Mind you guys, 2012 was the year I went through hell and back, just for the record. I felt it would give me a steady income as I become more established in the field of social work. 2012 was a rough year. I had been laid off from a job. Unexpectedly, my position on the next job was eliminated suddenly. I collected unemployment briefly and worked on a cleanup crew removing debris after Hurricane Isaac. I felt so discouraged and frustrated. Here I was standing in a dump site, writing tickets for debris removal with a master's degree. So by the time I secured this position, I felt the buildup of pressure being released. I could now provide or contribute for my family financially. The pay wasn't to my liking, and being accessible to clients 24/7 was new to me. But after all I had been through, I was just relieved to have a steady paycheck. So the place that I was in at this point, really, truthfully, guys, and I'm going to stop there. I won't give any more to the chapter. But the place that I was in by the time I had taken this specific position, like I shared, I was literally writing tickets in a dump site. I literally was standing in a dump site after Hurricane Isaac, and many of you guys who are from the New Orleans area, y'all remember Hurricane Isaac. We weren't directly hit by Hurricane Isaac, but the amount of winds we experienced and the amount of damage that the winds had done in this area, there was so much debris throughout the city. And in the moment, I was already unemployed. So by the time Hurricane Isaac had hit, that was the quickest job to get, was in debris removal or debris recovery. And I'm out there with a hard hat on in a dump site, literally with a master's degree, writing tickets for debris removal. So by the time that I had decided to, by the time I was able to find a job in my field, and by this time I'm pretty early on in the field, in the industry, as far as full-time in the industry, as I read to you guys, I had already been laid off from one job unexpectedly. My position was eliminated. Like, I don't know how I knew, but I knew that position was going to end. And the day that the manager called me in on that job, I was fired unexpectedly. let go, because I wasn't fired per se. They just claimed they didn't need the position anymore. But when that day came and the lady said, oh, we needed to meet with you when you're done with lunch, I literally was on the phone with my girlfriend. I said, I guess I'm about to be let go. And sure enough, I walk into the room and they let me go. That's how it can happen in the social work industry, guys. So by the time I got to this position in this situation, after standing in a dump site with a master's degree, it was like such a relief, even though the pay was horrible. And being accessible to clients 24/7 is not a life to live. Like that affects my quality of life. But I was so desperate for a job by the time that came that I took it. And it's just sometimes those circumstances are like the perfect storm to make you, to put you, not make you, but to condition you and put you in a position to accept things you wouldn't normally accept. Whether it's on a job, whether it's in your personal life, sometimes there's a perfect storm that happens and it kind of perfectly positions you because you're already fragile. The season you may have been in or the season you may be coming out of is a very difficult time. And so even with the year we're in right now with 2020, I'm hoping many of you guys come out with some level of a book to share your experience of getting through this year. This year is unprecedented. And so back in 2012, coming out of that situation and having experienced those things, by the time I took this job, I really didn't care. It was in my field. It was like I had to take what I could get at the time because I was so desperate after everything I had suffered through. I was in a relationship, and at the time, my husband at the time also was in between jobs. So we were in a really rough spot. We were scared we could lose our home and had just purchased a home. So I had taken this job in a really desperate space. And so by the time you get into the rest of my chapter, which again, my chapter, I'm talking about the Shut 'Em Down anthology, myself and two of my co-authors are going to be going live back to back on tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday. And then next week, we're going to be going live with the visionary of this book, and that's Dr. Carrie Yazid. Is going to be on LinkedIn, and I hope you guys will join us. I'm actually going to share the flyers as well when that comes out closer to that time. But again, my chapter is From Darkness to Light. And as you could tell, the space that I was in going into this position, I was already in a really tough spot. And really was in a space where I felt so desperate that I would have taken whatever they dished out in an effort to just stay afloat. And so again, if you missed my little snippet, it just kind of gave you where my head was at, my heart was at, where I was like, the situation I was in was very tough. And honestly, those situations can, again, put us in a place where we take anything. And why I call a chapter From Darkness to Light, because the place I started out in when I went into that job was a very dark place. But the place that I was in as I walked away from that job, it was a place where I felt like relieved. I felt like I've learned some life lessons that I didn't have before, where I learned my self-worth. That's the best way to put it. I walked away from that job, walking like away in light with self-worth. I knew who I was when I walked away from that job in 2012. And I knew then, it's called From Darkness to Light is my chapter. But I knew then that I would never take what I took before on the job. I would never allow white people to make me feel like I was not enough. I would never allow people to make me feel that way. It also checked my expectations, guys. I had unrealistic expectation of the Black people who were in the workplace. And I know that's possible of another possible topic we could talk about. Myself and my co-authors, again, we'll be going back to back live between tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday. I will be sharing their lives on my social media pages as well. I hope you guys are enjoying the snippet that I share and just the information that I'm sharing with you about the book. But these are really gut-wrenching stories. These are real true stories about overcoming. As I said earlier, that I had to learn who I was. The chapter start off talking about that I was not prepared. I was not prepared. When we are young as Black women and growing up in New Orleans, more specifically, I can't speak culturally for anywhere else, but I know in the Black family, there's just this general dynamic that happens no matter where you are. We have these certain traditions and things, practices and models that we are giving. And none of that includes being prepared for discrimination or racism. Of all the experiences that I feel like that I've had throughout my life that's prepared me for various things in my life, there was no amount of schooling that prepared me for discrimination or racism. There was nothing in my home. Nobody told me that because of your color, they're going to treat you different. Nobody told me that be mindful to filter the way you say certain things. That nobody prepared me. It just was the shock of it. And it was the realization when they would respond to me. And then I'm being pulled to the side and told that I'm coming across as the angry Black woman. That was my lesson. How they say the school of hard knocks. It was the school of hard knocks for real, guys. It was really real. Like, nobody's preparing us for these things. That's why I sat down with my daughter. That's why I implore and encourage all of you guys, sit down with your children, whether they're male or female, and talk about what it is they're going to have to deal with in the workplace with discrimination and racism. You guys know the times that we're in. Y'all know what we're battling. Nobody has to tell you this. We're seeing it every single day. And so this book kind of brings to life what we're dealing with in the workplace. Like, nobody's talking about in the workplace what we're living with and what we're dealing with. Nobody's talking about that. So much so that many of us in the social work industry, we've created our own space. We've created our own circles. We're creating our own directories. We don't want to be a part of the directories that are primarily managed and ran by white people. We want to create our own space. And we have to. Because if you want, like they say, when you're in Rome, you deal as the Romans deal. You can't be in their space, in their environment, in their culture, and think you're going to go in and you're going to upset things. No, that's not going to happen. You will be without a job. So these were experiences we shared. Again, I'm talking about the new anthology that came out that I'm a co-author in, 20 Black women sharing their stories of racism and or discrimination in the workplace. My co-authors are on. I think I put the link in Facebook. I would greatly appreciate if you guys support me. I promise you will not be disappointed. But I didn't get on to keep you guys too long. I wanted to share a snippet of the chapter. I wanted to give you an idea of what was happening in my life at the time that I went through this experience. If you pre-order the book and you get to read my full chapter, you'll kind of see how that whole scenario played out. But my title is called From Darkness to Light. And it truly was an experience coming out of darkness into the light, because I walked away from that job, never ever accepting less than what I'm worth from that day to this. And I didn't care whether they called me the angry Black woman. That was where my head was at by that time, okay? You could call me what you want, but you're going to pay me what I'm worth, okay? So that was where my head was at by that time. So again, Shut 'Em Down Anthology. The visionary of the project is Dr. Carrie Yazzie. She's also can be found on LinkedIn and Instagram. Go and follow her. My co-authors are on. I have Gertrude, she's on. She's also an LCSW. I have April, she's on. My co-authors, we've teamed up together. We just 3 of the 20, and we're going to be going live back to back, guys. So tonight it was my turn. Tomorrow, I believe it is April's turn, and then Thursday is Gertrude's turn, and we're all going to read a snippet of our book and share our heart. I'm hoping this was enough to help you understand what the book is about, what this flyer is. Is she going another book? Yes, yeah, I go in another book. I'm going to keep writing the books. I hope and encourage you guys to write a book. I see my graphics guy is on, Pen Publishing, Cliff. Shout out to Cliff. He has definitely been a major part of my brand lately. But I thank you for everybody who's come on to hear me out, to hear my story, and to get an idea of what the book is about. Again, Shut 'Em Down Anthology. If you don't see the link, please DM me. I can shoot you the link. It's not a problem. I will be signing all pre-orders as well, and I am continuing to take pre-orders. So that's all I have tonight, guys. Please look for April on tomorrow. I will be sharing her. If you're not a friend of April's, I will be sharing her live on my pages as well. But thank you for chiming in. Thank you for checking in, hearing me out, hearing what I have to say. Again, grab the book, pre-order your book, DM me if you're on Instagram, and the link is likely in the post on Facebook. So thank you guys again. Shut 'Em Down Anthology, 20 Black women sharing their stories of racism and or discrimination in the workplace. So thank y'all again. Y'all have a great night.